What happens when the warmest host on daytime television meets a guest who refuses to melt? The studio lights were softer than usual that afternoon, glowing like honey across the polished stage of the Kelly Clarkson Show. The audience buzzed with the kind of excitement that usually meant laughter, sing-alongs, maybe even a few happy tears. That was the magic formula of Kelly Clarkson. She didn't just interview people, she disarmed them. But that day, something felt off. Backstage, Kelly flipped through her cue cards, though she barely needed them. Her style had never been about scripts, it was about instinct, energy, connection. And today's guest, she genuinely wanted this one to go well. "All right, y'all," she smiled to her team, "let's make this a good one." Then came the introduction. "Please welcome Meghan Markle." Applause erupted. The band hit their cue. Cameras glided into position. Meghan walked out with measured precision, elegant, composed, controlled. Too controlled. There was no wave to the audience, no spontaneous smile, just a polite acknowledgement, like she was attending a formal obligation rather than stepping into one of the most relaxed talk show environments on television. Kelly didn't hesitate. She stepped forward with open arms. "Hi, it's so good to meet you." A brief side hug followed, quick, almost rehearsed. Meghan's posture stayed rigid, like warmth with something she tolerated rather than returned. And just like that, the first crack appeared. Kelly sat down, still smiling, still hopeful. "So tell me, how are you? Like really?" A simple question, her signature move, the door to something real. Meghan crossed her legs slowly, tilting her head just enough to signal distance. "I'm doing very well," she replied. "Thriving, actually." The word hung in the air, polished, perfect, and strangely empty. Kelly leaned in slightly, trying to meet her halfway. "I love that. I know the past few years have been a lot for you, publicly, emotionally. That kind of pressure changes a person." There it was, a bridge. Meghan didn't cross it. "I wouldn't compare experiences," she said coolly. A subtle shift rippled through the room. The audience didn't react out loud, but you could feel it, like a song missing its beat. Kelly blinked, just once, then recovered. "No, of course, I didn't mean just the public side of things, you know. It's tough for anyone." Meghan gave a tight smile, the kind that ends conversations instead of continuing them. Kelly adjusted in her seat. New angle. "So, what's exciting you right now? I know you've got projects, your foundation." "Important work," Meghan corrected. "Impact-driven initiatives." "Of course," Kelly nodded quickly. "Can you share one that's close to your heart? Maybe a story?" And that's when the temperature dropped. "We don't turn people's lives into stories for entertainment," Meghan said. The words weren't loud, but they landed loud. Kelly's smile didn't disappear, but it changed. Slightly tighter, slightly more careful. "I didn't mean it like that," she said gently. "I just think sometimes people connect more when they hear people can understand without emotional manipulation." Silence. Not awkward silence, heavy silence. Even the audience stopped shifting in their seats. Kelly glanced briefly off stage. A quick check, a silent, "Are we okay?" They weren't, but she kept going, because that's what she does. "All right," she said, clapping her hands lightly. "Let's switch it up. Music. I always ask this. What are you listening to lately?" A harmless question, a safe one. Meghan paused. "I don't really engage with casual listening." Kelly laughed softly, assuming it was a joke. It wasn't. "Oh, okay," she said, recovering again. "Books, shows, anything you're into right now?" "My time is focused on meaningful work." Each answer built another wall, and for the first time in a long time, Kelly Clarkson had nowhere to go. But she wasn't done trying, not even close. She leaned forward, softer now, more intentional. "Okay," she said quietly, "then help me understand what you do want to talk about." And for a split second, Meghan hesitated. The first real moment, the first flicker of something unscripted. But instead of opening the door, she closed it even tighter. "I expected a more structured interview." That's when the energy shifted completely. Kelly sat back. The smile faded, not entirely, but enough, because now it wasn't just a conversation anymore, it was resistance, and tension was starting to take control. The audience felt it, the crew felt it, and Kelly, she was about to stop playing nice. But what Meghan said next would push everything past the point of recovery. The air didn't just feel tense anymore, it felt charged, like something invisible had snapped between them. Kelly Clarkson had built her entire career on reading people, knowing when to lean in, when to back off, when to soften a moment before it broke. But right now, nothing was working. Still, she wasn't ready to give up. Not yet. She exhaled slowly, resetting her tone. Okay, she said, nodding to herself. Let's make this easy. No pressure, just conversation. Across from her, Meghan Markle sat perfectly still, composed, controlled, untouchable. Kelly tried again. You mentioned your foundation, she said carefully. I'd love to understand what impact looks like for you. Not the headline version, the real version. Meghan's fingers tightened slightly on her knee. Impact isn't something that needs to be simplified for public consumption. There it was again, that edge, that quiet superiority that made every word feel like a correction, not a conversation. Kelly tilted her head, still patient. I'm not asking you to simplify it, she said. I'm asking you to share it. Those are not the same thing. A murmur rippled through the audience this time. Subtle, but undeniable. Kelly heard it, and for the first time, she didn't immediately smooth it over. Instead, she leaned forward. And communication, she asked, isn't that part of the work too? Meghan's eyes narrowed slightly. Communication should be intentional, not performative. That word lingered. Performative. It wasn't just a response, it was an accusation. Kelly let out a quiet breath. Do you feel like this is performative? She asked. A beat. Meghan didn't hesitate. This is television. The temperature dropped again, harder this time. Kelly sat back slowly, studying her. Because now it was clear. This wasn't discomfort. This wasn't nerves. This was resistance by design. And something inside Kelly shifted. Still calm, still composed, but no longer chasing. All right, she said, her voice steadier now. Let's address the elephant in the room. That got Meghan's attention. You seem guarded, Kelly continued, and I get that. I really do. But I feel like every question I ask is being met with defense. I'm answering your questions. You are, Kelly nodded, but you're not engaging with them. The audience leaned in. This was new territory. Unscripted, unfiltered, real. Meghan adjusted in her seat. I didn't come here to be analyzed. And I didn't bring you here to feel attacked, Kelly replied immediately. But we're not connecting, and I think it's fair to acknowledge that. Silence. For a moment, it looked like Meghan might respond differently. Maybe soften, maybe meet her halfway. But then, you're asking the wrong questions. There it was. Direct, cold, final. Kelly blinked once, then smiled. But this time, the warmth didn't reach her eyes. Okay, she said, then let's try a right one. She leaned forward again, but now her energy had changed. Less inviting, more precise. How's Harry? The shift was immediate. Meghan Markle stiffened. Her shoulders tightened. Her expression closed completely. I don't discuss my husband in interviews like this. Kelly nodded slowly. All right, that's fair. A pause. Then, but you just said I'm asking the wrong questions, Kelly continued. That felt like a pretty normal one. It's a loaded one. It wasn't meant to be. There's always intent. Kelly let out a small, almost disbelieving laugh. No, she said. Sometimes there's just a question. The audience reacted softly to that, because now they could see it too. This wasn't miscommunication. This was collision. Meghan leaned forward slightly, her voice lower now. You may not realize how your tone comes across. And just like that, the balance tipped. Kelly's expression didn't break, but something behind it did. My tone? She repeated quietly. Yes. A beat, then another. Kelly nodded once, slowly. Okay, she said. But the way she said it, that was different. Because now she wasn't trying to fix the moment anymore. She was seeing it, clearly. And what she saw, she didn't like. Not one bit. She sat up straighter, hands folded, voice steady. No, she said calmly. I think I realize exactly how my tone comes across. The audience went completely still. Because this was the moment everything changed. And Meghan, she had no idea what she had just triggered. Because what Kelly said next would stop the entire show in its tracks. There's a moment, right before everything breaks, when the room goes unnaturally still. No whispers, no movement, just tension stretching like glass about to crack. And right now, inside the Kelly Clarkson Show, that moment had arrived. Kelly Clarkson didn't look angry. She looked done trying. Not dramatic, not explosive, just clear. Her hands rested calmly in her lap, but her posture had changed. No more leaning in, no more soft bridging, no more emotional cushioning. Across from her, Meghan Markle sat just as composed as before, but now there was something sharper behind her eyes. Expectation. Like she was waiting for Kelly to back down. Kelly didn't. She took a breath. Slow, measured, then spoke. I've been doing this a long time, she said, and I've had every kind of guest you can imagine. Nervous ones, closed-off ones, even difficult ones. A pause. But this, she added softly, this feels different. The audience leaned in, barely breathing. Meghan's expression didn't move, but her fingers tightened slightly against the armrest. Kelly continued. I walked out here today excited, she said. I wanted this to be a good conversation. I thought we might actually connect. Meghan finally spoke. Connection isn't always appropriate. That landed harder than anything before. Kelly blinked, then gave a small, almost incredulous nod. Not appropriate, she repeated, on a talk show built entirely on connection? Silence. No answer. Kelly tilted her head slightly. See, that's what I don't understand, she continued. Every time I've tried to meet you halfway, you've pulled back. Every time I've tried to open something up, you've shut it down. I've maintained boundaries. You've built walls. The words hung there, heavy, uncomfortable, true. The audience shifted again, this time louder, because now it wasn't subtle anymore. This was confrontation. Meghan straightened in her chair. There's a difference, she said, between protecting yourself and being expected to perform vulnerability for entertainment. Kelly didn't hesitate. I'm not asking you to perform, she said. I'm asking you to participate. A beat. Then, this is participation, Meghan replied coldly. Kelly shook her head once. No, she said quietly. This is avoidance. That was it. That was the line. The energy in the room snapped. Meghan leaned forward, her voice dropping into something colder, tighter, controlled anger wrapped in calm. You're interpreting this incorrectly. Kelly didn't move. I don't think I am. You are. Another beat. Kelly exhaled, longer this time. And when she spoke again, her voice had changed. Still calm, but now unmistakably firm. I think what's actually happening, she said, is that you walked in here already expecting to be attacked. Meghan's eyes flashed. That's not true. And because of that, Kelly continued, unfazed, every normal question feels like something else to you. That's your assumption. It's my observation. The audience murmured louder now, because it was clear Kelly wasn't navigating anymore. She was calling it out, directly. Meghan sat back slowly, crossing her arms this time, a shift in body language that said everything. Closed, defensive, done pretending. This is exactly what I was trying to avoid, she said. Kelly raised an eyebrow slightly. Being understood? No, Meghan replied. Being misrepresented. Kelly let out a small, sharp breath. I haven't misrepresented anything, she said. I've asked you basic human questions, and every single one has been treated like an intrusion. Because intention matters, and so does delivery. The words collided midair, neither backing down, neither softening. The room was no longer tense, it was electric, unstable, unpredictable. Kelly leaned forward one last time, not gently, not cautiously, but directly. No, she said, what matters is whether two people are actually trying to meet each other in the middle. A pause. Then, I've been standing in the middle this entire time. Silence. Then she added, quieter but sharper, and you never showed up. That hit. You could feel it. Even the crew backstage froze. Meghan stood up, not dramatically, not loudly, but decisively. This conversation is over. A collective inhale swept through the audience. Kelly didn't stand, didn't panic, didn't chase. She simply looked up at her, calm, still, unmoved. Then, slowly, she raised her hand. Not aggressive, not emotional, just final. I think we're done here. And just like that, everything stopped. No music, no applause, no transition, just silence as the cameras kept rolling. Meghan stared at her for half a second longer, then turned and walked off stage. No goodbye, no acknowledgement, just the sharp echo of heels disappearing behind the curtain. Kelly remained seated, alone now, the audience unsure what they had just witnessed. A talk show moment or something far more real? Kelly blinked a few times, collecting herself. Her usual brightness dimmed, but not gone. And when she finally spoke again, her voice carried something it hadn't before. Not frustration, not anger, something deeper, something human. Because what she said next would turn this moment into something no one could ignore. For a few seconds, no one moved. Not the audience, not the crew, not even the cameras. They just kept rolling, capturing a silence that felt heavier than anything that had been said. At center stage, Kelly Clarkson sat alone. No guest, no script, no safety net. Just reality. She blinked a couple of times, her composure still intact, but you could see it now, the emotional weight settling in. Not performative, not exaggerated, real. She let out a breath. Well, she said softly. A faint, uncertain laugh escaped the audience, not because it was funny, but because they didn't know what else to do. Kelly glanced around the room. That, she added, was not what I expected today. Another small ripple of reaction, this time a bit warmer. She nodded to herself, almost like she was grounding her thoughts before speaking again. I want to say something, she continued, sitting up straighter, because I think it matters. The room went quiet again, but this time it wasn't tense, it was attentive. Kelly looked directly toward the camera. I really did want that to go well, she said. I wasn't trying to catch anyone off guard. I wasn't trying to push buttons. A pause. I was just trying to have a conversation. Simple, honest, unfiltered. She folded her hands together. And sometimes, she added, that's harder than it should be. The words lingered in the air, softer than everything that came before, but somehow more powerful. Kelly exhaled again, this time longer. I think we forget something, she said, especially in spaces like this, on TV, online, everywhere. She glanced briefly at the empty chair across from her. We forget that connection only works when both people are open to it. The audience nodded, some quietly, some visibly. And if one person walks in already expecting a fight, she continued, then even kindness can feel like an attack. That line landed hard because everyone had just watched it happen. Kelly's eyes softened slightly. I don't know what someone has gone through, she said. I don't know what makes them put up walls that high. A small pause. But I do know this. She leaned forward just a little. You can't reach someone who refuses to meet you halfway. Silence again. But this time, it felt different. Not uncomfortable, not awkward, just honest. Kelly gave a small smile. Not her usual bright one. Something quieter, more grounded. I'm still going to show up the same way, she added. That's who I am. I believe in leading with kindness. A soft wave of applause began, hesitant at first. Then it grew, stronger, warmer, supportive. Kelly nodded, visibly grateful, though still processing everything. Thank you, she said gently. She glanced off stage, where producers were clearly signaling for a break. Then she looked back at the audience one more time. We're going to take a quick break, she said, and when we come back, I think we all need something a little lighter. A faint smile returned. Maybe puppies, she added. That finally got a real laugh. The tension cracked, just enough. As the music slowly faded back in and the cameras prepared to cut, Kelly remained in her chair for a moment longer. Not rushing, not hiding, just sitting with it. Because what had just happened wasn't just another celebrity interview. It was something raw, unfiltered, a rare moment where the usual polish of television slipped and something real took its place. And by the time the episode aired, clips spread everywhere, headlines exploded, debates ignited. Some people defended Meghan Markle, saying she had every right to protect her boundaries. Others stood firmly with Kelly, praising her for staying composed and finally speaking up. But no matter which side people took, everyone agreed on one thing. This wasn't forgettable. This was one of those moments that lingers. Because beneath the headlines, beneath the drama, there was a simple truth hiding in plain sight. Not every conversation breaks because of what's said. Some break because one side was never willing to hear anything at all.